Hi, neighbor. This is Nevers and Bits podcast, and I am your host, Chizoba Katie. How are you doing? If you're not feeling a little well like me, maybe your tummy just decided to start stooling or you ate something bad and you're blaming yourself, stop. Please just know that the healing power of God is working in your body now and always. And that's why it's available because it knows you will make mistakes. So God has made provision for our mistakes. So take hold of it and please don't be sick anymore. I needed to say that for my sake and for the sake of any other person. I'm using myself as a point of contact. So now that that's done and out of the way, today we're doing the second part of Spark of the Everflame. This story might be 2 or 3 parts at most. Well, we ended things in the last episode. Diem went to the palace with Mora to check on the children that they initially attended to that, got wounded. Now the kids are recovering fine. But then, Diem had a whole confrontation thing with the guards, and then Prince Luther came to the rescue, and then she met Prince Luther's cousins, women that are just, their claws are out for her. That like, don't talk to my child that way, that you people mortals, that if you're so interested in making your life better, you should have. They're speaking from a point of privilege, like, why can't you make your life better now? Without realizing that it's a descendant that holds all the coins, all the taxes, that mortals just because they want to cannot just make their lives better. Okay? So that's why Diem was like so angry. You get. And there was a mistake I made in the dialogue of the ending of last episode. When Luther came into Diem's space, it was not Diem that was telling Luther that our siblings are getting close. It was not Diem that was telling him that that she's worried about the danger. It was actually Luther that said tell her and my sister Lillian are getting closer and it's not a good idea because you know what comes out of the relationship between a descendant and a mortal. It doesn't end well. And Diem was now telling Luther that he should just let them be. They are young. If you tell them don't do, they will even want to do pass. So just let it run its course and let's see. They understand we'll just be here to catch them if need be. So it was actually Diem that was a cooler person in that instance. Really, she was just angry by everything that happened at the palace, and her anger was so hot that even when she left the palace with Mora was like, was that chemistry I was sensing between you and Prince Luther? DM is like, please don't talk that thing here. I don't need it. And the anger is burning so hot, the injustice of how this descendant think that we can just make our lives better. When she got home, her dad, that is the commander now, former commander, he's retired now. That's Andrea Bellato. He had to now pull her into a sword fight. So they have the sparring section. And because she's so angry, she's sloppy. She's making dumb mistakes that they've trained her better than that. DM now asked her father a question during the sparring section. Daddy, in the army, your bosses were the descended. How did you stomach taking orders from them? So Andrea simply answers her that I was serving a Marion, like the whole of a Marion. Mortals ascended, not just descended, okay? But she's not asking her father, is it descended that determined was right? So how can they be right when they cut down the Everflame tree and threw out the old religion? Andrea closes this conversation by telling Diem, I've been training you and Tella since you were young. Know how to choose your fights well. So now, later in the bedroom that Diem shares with Tella, apparently you cannot unshare a room unless you move out after marriage. So it's not a thing of, okay, everybody gets their own room. No, you can't. Unless you're married and you move out. So the future of a woman in this world is very much tied to you being married. So now with Lily, Diem now tells Stella, please be careful. She also adds, I have your back, even if you want to escape with Lily to Umbers. The realm of lawlessness where no one is going to bother you. If you want me to help you with that, I'm down, okay? So that's like, okay, good energy, big older sister there, okay? Now, later, Diem has to attend to a young courtesan in the slums, that paradise row. I mentioned this in the last episode. This woman might be crying, but on the other courtesans that are gathered around her, comforting her, there is blood stains on the women, and that blood is not from the women's body, okay? These women ganged up and finished the man that dared to beat, one of them, the young courtesan. The women of Paradise Row, they are very loyal. So Diem engages them in conversation to draw them out of the horror they just experienced that night. She's now asking them, okay, so which lingerie should I surprise my betrothed with? She lies that she's betrothed, even though at this time she and Henry do not have that arrangement. Her mind is not even going to marriage. Diem does not have that. But the moment she shall just ask that question now, because that's a courtesan kind of conversation. All of them have expert opinions. In fact, one of them even tells her, Daddy, and with your grey eyes, you can make a fortune as a courtesan. Oh. Because many men that come here want to experience, doing a descended woman. So if you decide to become courtesan by any chance, you will make very good money. And you cannot always return to being a healer when you're older. I mean, it's a win-win. Use your youth well, and then your old age, you have a craft to fall back on. You get, that's their logic. But DM, while respecting their line of work, that okay, this is what this women chose, this is where life has brought them, and they are making the most of it, she doesn't want to, become a courtesan. She just uses the betrothed to say, hey, my betrothed is not going to agree. That kind of talk now. Now, on DM's way back from the Paradise Row, she hears a blood-chilling scream. Now, when she turns the corner, she now sees a blue-eyed descended man trying to strike a woman and her 4-year blue-eyed son dead. So apparently this descended man, he's one of the 20 families. It's as he's talking that we get this information. And the boy's existence can ruin it for him. AKA, this man took a mortal mistress, impregnated her. The woman had the baby, was hiding the baby. But the man found out that I have a half-blood child and I cannot allow that child to live because it's going to tarnish the reputation of my family. It's going to demote us from one of the top 20 families of the descended. So Diem does her best to try to defend them. But the man traps her in a cage of shadows. He has shadow magic. If you're in Luminous, you either have light magic or shadow magic. If you're very powerful like Luther, you have both the light and the shadow. So the first knife that Diem throws at him is an ordinary knife. It does nothing to him. Diem, with all her bravada and coke, she watches helplessly as this man kills the woman. The knife that Breg gives her is foreign in her hand. She has not trained with it. So when she throws the knife, it cuts close to the man's neck, but where it hits is not fatal. The attack makes it such that it breaks the hold of the shadow cage holding Diem. Then the man pulls out the knife and instantly the wound starts clotting. God. The man is so angry. He is so determined to kill Diem. When it's clear to Diem that, I'm going to die this night because the man is hovering over her. For her last breath, she now recites words from the old religion, the rite of endings. She now says to herself, end be your time, a trading kind, a life well lived, for peace to find. And it makes the descendant more mad that she's reciting something from a religion that they've already wiped out. Do you understand? He now strikes her once, strikes her twice. Her and him, they're both confused. Is it that he missed? Did he not miss? Like, what's going on here that you're striking me and I'm fine? So she now starts raising alarm for fire. Fire is the only alarm that people in Paradise Row is going to mind. Do you know why? Because they're living in such jam-packed quarters that if a fire starts here, they know it's going to spread to everybody. So everybody's going to put hands so that all their homes and livelihood does not burn down. Do you get? Now, the man starts escaping because he doesn't want the attention of when the people arrive. He now looks at Diem with loathing, memorizing her face as per I'm going to get you. Now, the little boy is safe, at least that's what Diem thinks, until she touches him and finds him covered in blood. The descended man got to the boy. Diem feels useless. She feels enraged. She utters many blasphemies before asking a man from the crowd to help her bury the woman and the son. It's notable that this woman that was murdered is that same woman that, remember our opening scene last episode, that time that Diem was running and some men were chasing her, and then she gave some woman like that the weapons and said, please, if this man pass, points them in the opposite direction. So that woman that helped Diem hide and get away, this is that same woman that was struck dead. So Diem has had an encounter with her before, probably seen her, greeted her. So it's not like somebody that is unknown to her. It's somebody in her community that she sees her face, she knows. Do you get that this type of thing happened to her? And Diem with all her training could not save her. So it's paining her. It's very hurtful. She's like, oh my God, being a healer is such a passive work. As per the attack has already happened, then I come to heal. It's not going to make a difference in this life. She now goes to see Henry. She wants to join the Guardians. You know, in the last episode, when her and Henry went to Fortress, Henry already asked her, see, I'm part of the Guardians. Look at the difference we're trying to make. We do not accept the descended as the rulers of our land. They are foreign entities. They don't get to rulers and oppressors. We need to cast them out of here. Guardians are people trying to make a change in this world, to fight for the mortals. Diem has never really seen the point of really joining, but after what just happened, she's like, yo, I need to do something. So she goes to meet Henry. Now, to join the Guardians, you must pass a test. So Diem's test is that she has to go to the home of one of the 20 important houses of the realm, the Bennett house. Now, the descended, they're so flawless because now this is her on that day going among the descended to the place. They are so flawless. Their skin, not a scar, nothing do them. Now, Diem loves her mom and Henry because of their flaws. It's dawning on her that, this one, all of them look like plastic doll. It doesn't look human now. It's not real. That's the crookedness of her mom's teeth like this, or Henry with his scars. Those things are what makes them them. That's what she loves about them. Regardless, what the descended lack in individuality, in the sense that they all look like porcelain dolls, they make up for it in fashion. Their sense of fashion, including using magic to make like wraps around them. They dress so good. They are very creative fashionistas. Now, DM's targets, like I said, is this Bennett house, and they are an arms dealer. They are into arms dealing. The whole plan is the Guardians want to intersect this arms dealing stuff so that they can get weapons for the Guardians of the Everflame. DM is feeling half guilty that she's going to be betraying her healer's vows. You know, her healer's vows, you don't take patient information now. You are discreet and stuff. But then she now meets Loris. Loris is a 12-year-old descended, the son of the Bennett house, and he is arrogant. He asks her to wait. Now, she now tiptoes after him and overhears how harshly his own dad speaks to him. Loris now brings her to his sister's room, the sister that DM is supposed to attend to. All over the girl's skin is red. And then, through DM conversing with the small girl, she learns that a woman gave this young girl flowers and asked her not to tell. The woman had brown eyes, as a mortal woman, which is likely a guardian woman, is who deliberately got this girl sick so that DM can come into the home and get information. It's all a guardian ploy. DM creatively carries out the treatment because the girl doesn't want something bitter. So, that whole distraction stuff. So DM has excellent bedside manners as a healer. Loris was actually in the room with his sister, holding her hand. She saw the compassionate side of Loris. But the moment his sister is fine, he lives in a huff of trying to be a man that he cannot get emotional. So he can say it's his upbringing that is making him arrogant. That is, hot people raise hot people. People who are very imperfect and flawed raise people like that. So that's why it's great that the only way to make this world whole is by you healing yourself. Now, Diem puts Evani to sleep. That's the name of the small girl. And she now sneaks into Bennett's personal office. She manages to steal few documents, copies out some until she hears footsteps approaching. She hides under the table. She's almost caught, if not for Loris reporting to his dad that he cannot find the healer. And the poor boy gets slapped. She now hears footsteps retreating. Diem now escaped and burst out into the kitchen. And the cook now says, what was this one doing here? That because you appeared here, I'm going to have to pour out all the food. Imagine that you enter the kitchen that we're cooking. I'm going to have to pour out all the food. So they now drag her to Loris and his dad. And Diem manages to march out of there confidently. So Diem is mad at Henry because he's waiting for her some distance because he came with her, but he's waiting there under one tree like that. She now shows him what she got. And then there's silence as he peruses through it. Diem is not comfortable with the silence because she's like, did I do well? Did I not do well? You get, Diem is an overachiever. But then Henry is joyful. He spins her around. He kisses her. He now tells her that, recruits are not even meant to do much. It's just your willingness to do the mission that is even the loyalty, that is even the test. But Diem did what other recruits do not do. She went the extra mile of actually getting extremely valuable information. She was meant to try, not actually do something. But Diem is an overachiever who must pull her weight. There were even concerns of Diem joining the Guardian because her dad he used to be a high-ranking officer in the Marian Army now. So they're like, somebody that used to be officer like that, would his loyalties not be to the descended first? And this is his daughter. So there was all those things. So Henry now takes Diem to the meeting point where the Guardians of the Everflame meet. Now the code language at the door of an inn with the bulky man. There's a bulky man in front. Henry is allowed in, but not Diem. This bulky man, he tries to push down her hood and she punches the man in the chest. He laughs and wheezes. Now Henry goes in alone, but then he comes out with some men who now judge Diem. She finds herself in a position of trying to impress. She now recounts details of conversations she overheard. She turns over the documents. Man she punched now gets asked what he thinks of her. Diem is like, this man that I was not even friendly towards is the person that might determine if I get to join these people or not. But regardless of that, she doesn't turn into like, trying to please a man. She clenches her hands to fists. As far, even if they're going to reject me, I'm not willing to go down without a fight. But surprisingly, the man approves of Diem. And they now tell Diem, welcome to the Guardians of the Everflame. Right now, her internal belief is that she needs to be part of them. Now, when she joins the Guardians, she notices something. In as much as it was only men, the circle that we are perusing her, judging her, getting to say if she's okay to join or not. When she enters, she is surprised to see that the Guardians actually have a lot of age grades, from the old to the young to teenagers. She even sees faces that are familiar, including one of the healers, Lana. Lana is a healer that on the day they went to the palace to treat those children, that they used that Appian way, that's a shortcut. Lana was part of them, you get. And Lana is a trainee at the healer center. She gives Diem judgmental eyes. Diem feels it all. As far this is a trainee that is looking up to me, and this is me here breaking my healer's vow to join the Guardians of the Everflame. Regardless, Henry settles down with Diem at a table. Here at the Guardians of the Everflame, they have this tradition of referring to one another as brother and sister, brother this, sister that, and then to the people who head the Everflame, the leaders of this cell, like this is a luminous cell in all the 9 realms, or rather 8 realms or 7 realms. That is only 7 realms that mortals occupy out of the 9 realms. So in the 7 realms, there are different cells and different heads of it. So the heads of those cells are called father or mother if it's a woman. Apparently, the head of the luminous cell is a woman, but she's not around. She went away on a trip. And Demi is excited to actually hear that and hopes she gets to meet the said woman. So seated with Henry, Henry now tells Diem of the ritual that must be carried out for initiation, that everybody's going to strip, like actually strip and mark her with blood. The moment he tells her this, she wants out, only for Henry to say that he's joking, that they're not a cult. Now, the meeting is in full-blown section. There are upcoming duties and people are volunteering. Diem has never seen Henry as passionate about anything as he is for the society. It makes her glad for him. He volunteers for one duty like that. And when they now seek someone to infiltrate the palace, Henry volunteers for her, basically raises her hand up. She doesn't feel ready, but she's gonna do it anyway. Now, this is Diem taking a trip to the palace with Mora. Mora now schools Diem on decorum when she meets the king. She's meant to bow like this, do like that. Now, the Griven is hovering as Diem and Mora approaches. Mora tells Diem, I don't know what's wrong with the Griven. She never does this. So, Ray, I think I may not be pronouncing that name right, but I'm going to look that up. Like I said, I had to listen to the deep dive of this episode so that it could actually help me tell it better. I don't know if it's working. Please, I would appreciate if you tell me, oh yeah, the deep dive you listen to is actually making you tell the story better, because at this moment, I don't know. I'm just telling the story. However, it's said that the Griven, the Soray creature, we talked about her last episode, that she's a combination of a dragon head, lion body, eagle's wings, that sort of thing. This Griven, right? That they protect whoever the crown is. That is the king or the queen of Lumnos. The thing is that they sense intentions. And right now, Diem does not have the best intentions when she enters this palace. Maybe that's why the Griven is hovering close to Diem, as far senses she doesn't have the best intentions. Now the guards search them again, and Luther arrives. Diem feels herself drawn to his power. She feels like everybody feels it, right? Oh, we're going to find out about that soon. She doesn't know that she's feeling it because she is too, but we'll get there. So with the way these men are going about it, still groping, so Luther takes over searching her, and it becomes a situation where they're both flustered. The whole put his hand behind her leg, just smoothing his... Like, the way he's searching her is respectful. But these people already have some sort of developing heat between them. So it's a flustering kind of situation. Now, there is a scar on Luther, on the side of his face, ankle. I would actually have to depict it in one of my promotions so that you see. Descended are not people that get wounded and it stays. They don't have scars, really. So that means if you have a scar as a descendant, it means someone hurt you as a child before your healing gift kicked in. That is the ability to heal very fast kicked in. So who was the person that hurt this child, like child Luther, badly before he was of age? Who did that to a kid? That's the thing Diem is wondering. Now, in the process of Luther searching Diem, he actually feels Breck's thin knife in Diem's boots, but chooses to ignore it and warns her with eye language not to use it. If you read the story up to this point, you have to wonder. In fact, if you do not wonder, I'm going to wonder for you. Why in the world is Luther being too lenient with Diem? Like, why doesn't he outright punish her or call out the fact that she has a Photosian steel in the palace, the only actual steel that can hold descendant? Why did he let her go with it? You might think, oh, it's because he likes her, da 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 da. No, there's actually a very valid reason. And we're going to say, so please hold that thought. He has not been easy on her for no reason. Or you don't think he's easy on her because he knows her mom or this. That's part of it. But he doesn't know this girl. And Luther is someone given to protect it. So there is something about the situation that is making him say, okay, I'm not going to be too harsh on her. So we're going to see that because we'll see how he treats his guards. I mean, we saw the first guard that he punished severely. And even here, we'll see something else he does to a guard of his. So he's not somebody that cannot kill and hurt and everything. But he goes way too easy on Diem. And that is a good reason. So please, let's hold on to that thought as we move forward. So as Diem is working with Luther, she actually asks him questions about the light and shadow magic. And he tells her about it. Descended do not talk to mortals about anything related to their magic. Do you understand? And in fact, the Luther shows off in sense of that he uses his light and shadow magic to open the chambers to the king's room. Now, Diaz doesn't do the whole prostrate to the king. The king looks young, looks about her dad's age. But this king has ruled for generations, like 200 years or so. There are two guards at the door. Now, Mora is attending to the king. Luther is in the room. Now, next thing, Diem now notes that, okay, see, there are two guards here. And if I run off, there's only one that would run out after me. Do you understand? So she just kind of calculated in her head that, okay, if I run, this is how I can get to the place, sneak and search around for the guardians. Because that part of the reason why she's here is to infiltrate the palace for the guardians, okay? So before anyone can stop her, she runs off, claiming she dropped her bag and needs to get it. Now, through the scribbling of the palace layout, it's a very primitive drawing, bed from just mortals coming in for one service or another that they were able to draw that out. She's trying to get to the royals' boat and complete a mission for the guardians. And she doesn't think Luther is going to come for her. She thinks he cannot leave Mora alone with the king now. But to her shock, he does. And he knows she's hiding behind the pillar. Because when she hid there, maybe a foot of hers or something was showing. But even as much as he knows she's hiding behind the pillar, he doesn't go there to pull her out. He just says to her hearing, don't be like your mother who lost my trust. What's that supposed to mean? Did my mother lose your trust and killed her? These are thoughts going on in Diem's head. Now, the guards are giving orders to bring her life without hurting her. But when they see her coming back, they twist her hand, pour out and waste her precious herbs, and even put a knife to her throat that draws blood. Let it be noted that the steel that all the guards use at the palace is Photosian steel, obviously, because it's the descended guests they normally have. And Photosian steel definitely can hurt a mortal too, right? Normally. But we're going to see something special about Diem going forward. Diem cannot remember the last time she bled. In fact, she doesn't even notice it. It's later that it's even her brother tell her that point it out. So it's very notable here that it's Photosian steel that was used on her. And it drew blood, like she felt blood, leak down, warm blood, down her chest, in between her breasts and all. So Luther makes the guard stand down. He trails the cut line with his finger, and he looks so mad. I don't know why he looks so mad, but some of us are like, is he mad that Diem was wounded or that the guards undermine his power by not, following his orders? It was two of them. I think personally it's two of them. And so the guard that did it, that caught Diem, Luther stabs the guy in the stomach at a point that makes the healer in Diem proud at the choice of penetration. It's basically a point where it will hurt the guy, but it's not going to, touch any nerve, any vein that is crucial. He did it because these guys did not follow his orders. They even lied she attacked first. But later, both of them are just talking. She tells him that it's unnecessary that I had to stab that guy. There's a flicker of surprise in his eyes. Like, this guy did not treat you well. And I stabbed them for momentarily pain, knowing that they would heal as bad. They're descended, their bodies will heal that would. So why you should be excited that they got hurt for hurting you. But she's like, it's not necessary. Why are you that compassionate, DM? What is wrong with you? Do you get? Now later, Luther dismisses DM and leans into whisper that she's lucky she left today with her life. And that's just confusion because he just went from defending her against his guards to protecting her, and now he's threatening her. On their way back from the palace, like as they're leaving, Mora is very angry at DM. Like, what stunt did you pull at the palace? Why did you run off like that? Do you know what could have happened? You risk getting your brother kicked out of school, your family and my family getting killed with your attitude. Did you think of that? No, DM was not thinking of that. She was only thinking of the Guardian's mission. She was not thinking straight. She was just being reckless and impulsive. And then why does Luther always stare at you and you always provoke him? Mora is now saying to them, I should have listened to your mother or Raleigh, who knew you best, and not let you anywhere near the descendant. That just twists the knife in DM's gut. Because there's a girl right now who's overpleasing, who doesn't know herself, who's just angry, and the anger does not have a channel. So everything she's doing, honestly, at this point, I don't know. But the reason I don't judge GM too harshly is DM is all of us at different points in time. That point where you overplease, that point where you get yourself in reckless situations, that point where you're like, that my God told me this, but I wanted to belong, I wanted to fit in. And this is a girl who's never really fit in anywhere in her life, and she's just trying to fit in with the Guardians, burn her mark into the world, whatever it is. Now, DM goes to report to the Guardians. She's telling them all the things she experienced there, and then now looking at her in surprise, like, you mean you ran through the palace and you are whole and intact? She's like, no, that it cut me on my neck. But let her now show them the cut on her neck. It's gone. She's like, okay, maybe nothing really happened. Maybe I was just crushed. But Luther touched that line. She felt blood come out. And the thing is gone like nothing happened. And girl is not thinking anything of all these things. Okay, she's like, maybe I imagined the cut. Maybe it didn't really happen. Her state of the little dough. Anyway, she tastes failure and disappointment on her tongue that she couldn't complete the mission. And in her trying to overcompensate and give at least anything to show that she's not a failure, or that she is good at being a guardian or whatever, she now does something unforgivable. She reveals a secret passageway into the palace in the gardens. That place that the teenage descendant led them through, that he asked them, Ipa healers, right? He will not say anything back. So she regrets it as soon as she does it. But isn't it what she signed up for, as per giving the Guardians all the information she can to take down the descendant? But it now dawns on her that, hey, the Guardians didn't know this information about this secret passageway. And Lana was there. Lana, the other trainee healer, was there when we went through this secret passageway. And she did not tell them anything. Which means Lana is even better at upholding her healer vows than she, the full healer, that's Diem. Lana and Diem aren't close, and that's because of Diem's insecurity. Because Diem is tall in a place where mortals are mostly short. You get, while Lana is petite and blonde. While Diem is jealous of Lana being petite and blonde is because those are the type of girls that Henry has always been demonstrating interest in, before he and Diem got together and stuff. So there's that insecurity in her that she's not the kind of girl that men around her prefer. So this is DM in her desperate attempt to prove something. She just doesn't compromise alone, because she just compromised. She also betrayed her core values. And the Guardians now tell her that they don't have work for her for a time, that she has a lot to learn. DM feels more disappointment. As per, because I did not do my mission at the palace well, that's why they don't trust me. But any other person in DM's position would have been killed instantly. O'Reilly was a much more stealthy spy. DM is just reckless. DM is like a bull in a china shop, barreling into everything. She's dangerous, she's reckless. And let me tell you the truth, this does not get better. Go into the story with me with your eyes ready to be like, oh my goodness, eek. Like, you're gonna cringe, because girl does not get better for a while. When she finishes there, this is the height of it, the height of disappointment. She goes out, she meets with Henry. And what does our guy do? He thinks it's a great time to propose. He still looks on her with immense pride, because Henry's plans is that after the Guardians win in taking down the Descended, DM is going to stay home and focus on their home. Oh my God, there is this silence. So things like obedience, sacrifice, wife, oh my God, DM hates it. The voice inside her has been quiet stares and is now telling her fight. Not like fight Henry, but fight this cage that she's been put in, this life that she doesn't want for herself. But all DM tells Henry is that she's going to think about the proposal. Fortunately, Henry leaves for a mission that for weeks he's away and she is relieved. That is not how you feel about it. Someone you love or you want to be betrothed to. You do not feel relief if they go away, okay? Now, Diem lives on edge that any day children in the palace will be attacked and killed because of her. Anytime Mora gets back from the palace, she's always like, tense. Like, is she going to say something happened to the children? Is she going to say the flower that the guardians used on that small girl, Ivani, that, the DM had to go to that Bennett house to treat the girl? That flower is called Death Shade, Abby Nightshade. It's a very lethal flower that if that small girl had ingested it, it would have killed her. Even when DM was approaching Henry about this thing, that this is wrong, it's not ethical. And Henry's like, do you know how many children the descended hurt on a daily basis? Do you know how many children are killed because of the descended on a daily basis? So what is one spoiled child getting hurt to save more of our kind? Do you get that type of thing? In a way, it makes sense. But then, and that way is, does two wrongs make it right? Do you have to fight so bloody dirty because they're trying to make a point? It's just going to lead to more violence. And I know in our head it makes more sense. Just like everybody now screaming war, war. But our people that lived, like our grandparents that lived through the Civil War, will tell you that that they don't want to see that type of thing again. Ever. War is a very terrible thing. You get more proactive ways is maybe get into the military, you train, just like the way South Korea has those mandatory service, or the Israelis, both their men and the women know how to fight because they find themselves in that war zone. Is essential to defend yourself. I just have so many thoughts on this and I don't want to go deep into it so that it doesn't derail from the story. But I just think two wrongs will not make it right. For every day we walk in this, thank God there is wisdom from heaven. I'm just going to leave it there. Essentially, because of that experience of Ivani, DM does not think the guardians are above hurting children to get to their goal. So that's why she's tense all the time. Like anytime today, the guardians would sneak into the palace and kill off all the children, and it would be all of DM's fault. Because while they can live with themselves if they do that, DM cannot live with herself if that happens. So DM goes to Lumnos City. That's Lumnos City, it's still in Lumnos now, and then Motor City where the Motors mostly dwell. So she goes to Lumnos City to tend to a descended person, and there she runs into Princess Lillian and her friends. And now DM's mind subconsciously, she knows this girl. So she addresses her as Lily. And that's not the decorum to address a princess. But Lily's nice about it. Even though her friends are like shocked, like, where do you know this one from? Then Lily just asks her friends to go ahead to the palace without her. Lily gushes to DM that, oh my God, I got healed so quickly. She now tells DM that my brother, Luther, likes you because DM is the only person who's ever been mean to him. Imagine. Now, DM was doing her job. That's what she tells Lily. Lily now invites DM and Tella for lunch at the palace. DM suspects Luther warned Lily about her association with the mortal boy, that's Tella. So DM, knowing how uncomfortable it is to go to the palace, now turns Lily's invitation around and says, Lily, you could come to my home for lunch instead. Do you understand? So now, when DM gets home that day, she's now teasing Tella about Lily and how she's coming over to the house. Their father is supportive, like, oh, Tella likes a girl. He does not know that Lily is a princess or that she's descended. And Tella looks pained. Like, you should not be teasing me about it, about this thing. So DM doesn't realize the situation is not so funny because she doesn't realize the extent that this love story can get tragic. So now, in similar sibling vibe, Tella turns the teasing around to ask, how about Henry? About Henry's proposal, have you accepted it? Now tells your dad that DM is yet to give an answer. DM now asks her father, hey, how did you know that mom was the one for you? You understand? So it now leads to Andrea Bellato telling the story of himself and DM's mother, that Orali was a well-known healer in the army and he was always in awe of her. So one time she left a dangerous mission. Because he has been postponing asking her out because he always chickens out, he now promised himself to ask her out if she returns. But the day he saw her, that she came back after a whole year, she was gone, he ran away. Eventually, he approached her, courted her for a month before she showed up at his door with baby DM in her arms. She was leaving the army and she was even about to ghost him, but decided he doesn't deserve that. Even with the baby in her arms, it clicked into place for Andrea Bellato that he should be with Orali. She had her secrets. He had his war memories he didn't want to revisit. And they loved each other like that because any other woman would have wanted him as per hero of war, tell me stories. But O'Reilly doesn't ask because she has her own secrets that he too doesn't pro deep into. They're both people that understood each other and met like that. But then suddenly, he sits up and in an assured voice says to Diem that O'Reilly is coming back. That's why your mom is coming back. But out of the blue, something rocks the house on foundations. They'll take cover. A bomb is blowing up somewhere. And these explosions sound close to the palace. DM is panicking. That thing she feared the most has come to pass. She grabs her healer's bag and tells herself, I must go to help. Her dad doesn't want her to go because it's concerning descended. And her mom forbade her from them. But she's like, no, she has to help. Do you understand? Because he doesn't know that she has even crossed the line a long, long time ago. As per she's been healing descended for a while now. She feels heavy guilt as per God, please. Nothing should happen to these children. God, please. It's my fault. That sort of thing. So she's running there towards wherever these explosions happened because that's where she needs to be right now. So for today, this is where we end the story. Let's not get too far ahead. Now, the next part is where the story is going to end, and then we'll start with the next part, the book two, Glow of the Everflame. So, if you really enjoyed this, I look forward to having you next episode. Please don't forget to give the podcast a rating on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Please leave a comment if you're listening on Spotify. On Apple Podcasts, please leave a review. It really helps people find the show. And just share the story to just one person that comes to your mind that you feel likes this type of stories. Do you understand? And in any way you feel like I could get better at making the story more entertaining, I love feedbacks. I absolutely do. So I'm going to see you. Thank you so much. Bye.